Alright, so we finally got the call that the dyno we're taking the big block to is ready for us. So right now we're pulling the inner springs out so that we can break the cam in safely. He wants the engine for 2 days. He's going to spend the first day just breaking it in, putting a bunch of miles on it, changing the oil, going over everything, tuning everything. And then probably the next day he'll make the power pulls on it and we'll see what it does. No idea what to expect from it, really.
I expect it to hold together.
I guess now would probably be the best time to say, leave your guesses in the comments below what you think it'll make. I'm thinking, trying to be kind of conservative, like 475 on motor. I'm excited though, man. As long as it's running good, I don't care what it makes. I'm just happy to see the truck back together.
Yeah.
So just gotta finish pulling the springs out, and then probably tomorrow we'll run it down there and drop it off and see what it does. So if you haven't been following along with the build, here is how we got to this point. Our little street truck called Jack Black ended up absolutely destroying 2 or 3 small blocks. And that is where this thing comes in. We got a smoking deal on this 454 from my dad's neighbor Kenny. Shout out to Kenny. And because we're budget guys, we just slapped it together with the cam, intake, and headers and sent it. But the truck never really ran that great. So we pulled it back out. We got a solid lifter blower cam from Comp, some forged Icon pistons, some Eagle rods, because we knew we were going to throw a medium shot of nitrous at it, some used 049 heads, and we topped it off with this tunnel ram that we just could not resist. Alright, just got here, McEldowney Performance, McEldowney Racing, down by Jackson, Michigan. Old girl made it in one piece, which is always good. Hi guys, like this lift setup we made. Works pretty good.
Seems like they just don't get our ways. They try to control what we say. Funny things will never go away. It's who we are. We drink iced tea out of jars.
Alright, thank you. He wants a good day or two just to go over the engine, make sure everything's good so that like we didn't forget to tighten a bolt or some shit like that. He wants to look over the valve train and make sure that's all kosher. And then he said Monday, maybe Tuesday, we'll start making some noise with it.
Yep.
We'll find out in a couple days what she's gonna do. And then we can start throwing the truck back together. Alright, today's the day. Back at the dyno, gonna see what the big block will do.
So I've had it running, it's in time. Did you bring any fuel today?
Didn't even
well,
think
I
about
got some Friday. So I think we're good. We're good there, we're good there. We got water in it. I think we're ready to go. We're going to see how it starts, cold. Okay, the accelerator pumps on these carburetors
Yeah.
are a little loosey-goosey. We're going to get it. But I think they're okay. We're going to find out.
I'm just happy there's no oil leaks.
I warmed it up to see oil pressure is better. We got 20 pounds more oil pressure than we did before.
Wow.
I think that has to do with the bearings.
Probably.
All right, and I did pull the covers off and check all the labs, and they were all 30 cold. Let's see if we can make this back.
we're getting the engine all warmed up to make some pulls, and in the dyno cell, everything's so muffled that you can't really hear the engine. You can't really hear the exhaust note of the engine. So to keep the neighbors happy, this is his whole setup. And you can still hear. It's got a pretty good rumble even through these massive trash cans. Just thought that was pretty amusing how the engine itself is so quiet, but the exhaust note even through those massive trash cans still has a pretty good rumble to it. Yeah, it sounds pretty good out there.
Yeah. That's all good semi.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Well, let's see what our weather is today. Not so bad. I'm surprised. All right. You let it schmooze for a couple of seconds, and then we'll do a light load from RPM to here, then we'll go from here to here, and then maybe go from here to there. You say you shift at 6, and I think it ought to go 6. I don't think that'll be a problem.
Oh, yeah. That's good.
Okay, well, we're going to start 3,500 to 5,000. That ought to tell us something. Fresh air is open.
At 5,000. I didn't see what the torque was.
All right, our torque, where is our peak torque at? Right about there. And the horsepower was still going up. That's a good thing. Alright, so our peak torque looks like it's about 4.
Okay.
And that's not all bad, but at 3,500, it's still over 500 foot-pounds. So you said that you were a brake torque guy. Put on the brake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you got it. I think it's going to be okay.
Sweet.
Well, let's see. I want to look at oil pressure. Oil pressure, okay, good. 60-some pounds. Last time we had 40.
Yeah. Wow. All right.
It was because of a worn out crankshaft, I think. Sounded good. I thought we were ready to go.
Yeah. is what I saw.
Okay, so we had 525 horsepower, roughly speaking. 527 foot-pounds of torque. Oil pressure. Alright, is still good. 64 pounds, which is 20 better than we had before.
I mean, I didn't think initially that, I thought we'd still be in the 4s at peak.
You guys are ready to go. Maybe that washer's leaking. You see a little bit of that wet right there? Yeah.
On there. Yeah. The top seal on the carburetor.
Hey, we had 565 horsepower, 530 foot-pounds of torque.
The power was still climbing.
They're supposed to be below that gap there.
Alright. Getting disconnected from the dyno right now. The final numbers are 530 torque at 4,000 RPM, and at 3,500 RPM it was still like 520 torque, I think. So it should 60 foot pretty good, better than the truck ever has, really. And the peak horsepower was 565 at 6,000 RPM, but it was still going way up. We just stopped it at 6,000 because that's about where we want to shift to keep everything kind of safe, because we really don't want to scatter the engine over revving it. It's still a factory crank. We did end up replacing the crank because ours, after the first time we had it here, this is our second time here, the first time we had it here, it had an oil leak, and when we checked things out, the bearings were trashed. The crank was kind of chewed up a little bit, so he ended up sourcing another one. We had it all polished, new bearings, everything. Oil pressure's good. During the pull, it was at about 65 pounds. Right after the pull, it dropped down to 40 pounds at idle with hot oil. So I know I was being a little pessimistic, but I genuinely thought it would peak horsepower at like 480, 490, just, I don't know. But it being almost 100 numbers over that, I'm pretty thrilled, and it still gives us plenty of room to spray it, which we've already got that direct pour kit on the intake. So the only thing left to do now is get it disconnected, load it into the truck, take it home, throw it in Jack Black. There's a few other things he wants to address, and then the truck is pretty much ready to go for this year. So with the spray, we should be pretty comfortably over 700 at the crank. So I'm just happy that the engine stayed together, everything stayed nice and happy and healthy. And let's be honest, that's probably close to like 200 horsepower more than the truck's ever had. I mean, I think the best engine we had in it was probably that 360 small block, and I doubt that was making over 400 at the crank. So the truck should run pretty good this year, should be pretty competitive, and I think if we do a little bit of suspension work, it should be pretty competitive on the street. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned as we get the truck back together and start testing it. All the tracks are opening up. Martin just opened up yesterday, 2 days ago. So definitely keep your eye out for that. Like I said, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for liking, commenting, and subscribing. We'll see you next time.